And my first guest tonight also has a lot to say about Carl Palladino's gubernatorial campaign, particularly in light of the stance he took on the issue of abortion during a live interview yesterday on CNN. Now let's take a look at that.
How do you feel? What is your position on abortion?
No.
Should a woman have a right to have an abortion if she's been raped?
No.
She should not. She should have to have the baby.
And the baby can be adopted, yes.
What if it's a case of incest?
And the baby can be adopted, yes.
Tracey Brooks is the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Advocates of New York State. Tracey, thank you very much for your time tonight. You're shaking your head. I saw it when you were watching that. You're shaking your head. That's a very extreme point of view.
It's extreme, and it's completely inappropriate for a decent society. It's not even conventional among people who disagree with women being able to make their own decisions. I mean, Carl Palladino is talking about Main Street. That statement that he made last night said that on Main Street, our daughters, our wives, our mothers, our sisters don't have the ability to have a full range of reproductive health care, including abortion services, when they've been victims of incest and rape.
Okay, so can you think of any other Republican, Libertarian, Conservative, anybody who espouses that point of view? Because I actually cannot.
I cannot, and certainly not on national TV.
Right. So you were taken aback by it, obviously.
We were completely taken aback.
So this is, in some ways, though, positive for, not his views are not positive, of course, for your organization, but some people, I think, were feeling a little complacent about Andrew Cuomo. He's got this double-digit lead, and then Carl Palladino comes out of nowhere, and it really lights a fire under the base.
Well, what I'll tell you is New York State is a pro-choice state. And that's been proven time and time again in polls, in elections, even when people who disagree with pro-choice positions come in busloads to try to campaign all over the state, in the North Country, in the West. We win with pro-choice candidates. New Yorkers rally behind and look for pro-choice leaders to be elected. We definitely have an outstanding slate of pro-choice leaders on one side of the aisle, on the Democrats. We have, at the top of the ticket with Andrew Cuomo, our Lieutenant Governor, both our AG and our Comptroller, and we look forward to continuing to keep folks like that who will protect our rights and keep our access to health care available.
Do you really think, though, that people vote on these kind of issues anymore? Social issues? I mean, I think particularly at a time when the economy is so troubled and there are so many other things going on, are people really voting on social issues like abortion and also like gay marriage? I mean, we saw that, right, in the presidential campaigns, not this past presidential, but the last, and that people were voting on that issue. But on abortion, really still?
Well, I'll tell you, Liz, social issues are the things that matter most to each one of us individually and personally. Can we access health care at a time when we're looking at implementing health care reform so that more people have access? Why would we move the clock back? Why would people who believe that women are trustworthy? New York values the ability for women to make their own decisions. We have a wonderful legacy of setting forth accessibility, the full range of reproductive health care, including abortion services. Women and people who agree that this needs to continue are going to vote on those issues just as much as they care about creating jobs, stabilizing our economy here in New York, which is also very important. But if you can't access health care, that is something that makes a difference to your very own family, your very own sister.
You guys are talking, obviously, about this, and you're here speaking with me, and you've put out a number of statements. What are you going to do to let people know that what we just saw here with Carl Palladino is the way that Carl Palladino thinks vis-a-vis Andrew Cuomo on this particular issue?
Planned Parenthood Advocates of New York is running an I'm Voting Pro-Choice in 2010 campaign statewide. We'll be pulling out people who agree and believe that our leaders need to continue to support a woman's right to full reproductive health care, including abortion services. We will be announcing our endorsed candidates and letting people know where to find the voter guide so that you'll be able to see what the voter history has been for incumbents and who's 100% behind healthy women and healthy families in the state of New York.
You know, there are also, tomorrow there'll be an event that your organization is not involved in, but a number of organizations are involved in, and, you know, again on rights. Actually, former State Attorney General Robert Abrams will be there too. This is about the state AG's race. Now, you know, when it comes to policy, for example, an abortion, obviously there's a concern at the state level because the U.S. Supreme Court is going to be taking up issues and potentially eroding. People are worried, opponents are worried, eroding, so that you want to strengthen things at the state level to make sure that that doesn't happen locally. But then when it comes to the Attorney General, you have the ability to defend or not defend the state when these issues come up.
Right. Well, not only that, but violence. This state, you know, as we saw Dr. Tiller be killed a year and a half ago, New York is not immune to that. The last death or victim of such violence around the abortion issue was here in New York, out in Buffalo, Dr. Slepian. It's our Attorney General, it's our watchdog who makes sure and enforces those laws. It's very important that our Attorney General is pro-choice.
So when Dan Donovan, the Republican, says, I am not pro-choice, but, however, I will uphold the law in the state, that's not enough for you guys?
It's not, because, Liz, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who could be involved in helping a woman to make a decision. There's no politician who should be involved in that very personal decision. The people of the state of New York trust women. They know that women will make the right decision for them and their families. And politicians don't have a seat at that table.
Well, and women vote, of course. It's not lost on anyone. 51% of the population, and they tend to vote in higher numbers than men. So it will be interesting to see how much legs this issue gets, because honestly, of covering campaigns over the years, I've not heard it been this strong, particularly because of what Carl Paladino said. But I want to thank you very much, Tracey Brooks, for coming in. It's great to see you.
Great to see you, Liz. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.